Komt ook een paard binnen, Diana Hinke van Mersken, van Jehannes van Jisse met Peters staan zonnen. Of Peters is sterker staan zonnen Emma Spoelstra-Kingma.
And we are continuing with another clinic. You can see it already in the screen. Tweespan ruitersport. We are going to watch Sybren Minkema together with Diana Hinke van de Mersken. And the rider is Emma Spoelstra. And they're going to talk about electronic pressure under the saddle. They're going to measure this.
Welkom. U zit welkom bij deze clinic, zadeldrukmeting.
And we are listening to Sybren Minkema telling us a big welcome.
We doen deze clinic in samenwerking met Countrymail.
And we are doing this clinic together with Countrymail. What are we going to do? We're going to measure the pressure under the saddle. But it sounds very simple. And people who come in our shop always ask us, can you measure it for me? And then what are the results? But then what are you going to do with the results? And what we're going to try to do today, I'm going to try to tell you a little bit more about this. But maybe you're going to have more questions after this. We are looking at the horse Diana. Diana is a star mare from Jehannes. And then a horse. A horse is a moving animal, and that can be different every day. And then also, if a horse is tensed, you will have a different measurement than when you have a relaxed horse. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk and trot a little bit to make the horse as relaxed as possible. So we're only going to start the measurement if the horse is warmed up a little bit. Okay, and then you have the people coming to you with a new saddle, and they will say, well, you're not straight when you're sitting in the saddle. But what we have to check then, is it the rider not being straight, or is it the saddle not being straight, or maybe the horse?
Dus de drukmeting dat aan de ruiter of aan de zoon beter kan uitleggen. Als Emma klaar is en ontspannen is, dan werken we straks met deze elektronische pad. Dit is een pad die meet de druk in newton per vierkante centimeter.
And when the horse is more relaxed, we're going to put a pad under the saddle. It's a pressure pad. It has a lot of sensors in there that are going to measure the pressure. And in the image is going to give a color. Green, blue, red. And those colors are going to give us information. And then close to the entrance we have the computer, and we're going to try to project the result onto the screen. I have to say, we already did some measurements here. And we noticed that it's a little bit harder on the Frisian horse. Why is it harder? The Frisian horse is not a very skinny horse. They have a different body than the warm blood horse. If you have a Frisian horse and they have a little bit of fat on their body, that's already something that will divide any pressure.
piekbelasting. En ik weet niet,
And we have the average pressure, but you also have some peak pressure.
in het schouder prikken, dan kan het even zeer doen.
For example, if you put one finger on the shoulder of your neighbor, you can feel that.
Aanhouden en gaat bij de buurvrouw
If you keep pushing your finger, then it's going to be annoying.
drukpunten en drukplekken.
And then you're going to get pressure points.
Metingen. We meten piekbelasting.
So what we're going to do, we're going to measure the short-term pressure and the long-term pressure.
Nou, dit waren het hartstikke goed. We beginnen gewoon eventjes met de zadel 1.
Okay, we're going to put a saddle on the horse. Saddle number 1. And we're going to watch the monitor.
De verdeling is, de drukverdeling is van het zadel op het paard. In principe is het zo, hoe meer spanning je hebt in je paard, hoe meer drukpunten je krijgt. Hoe harder de vulling van de zadel is,
The more tense the horse, the more pressure.
natuurlijk wanneer de zadel helemaal niet past, heb je ook
And then if you have a non-fitting saddle, you also have pressure points.
in het algemeen. Maar daarvoor zijn wij natuurlijk ook opgeleid om de zadel te beoordelen. Wanneer we straks de pad daaronder hebben, is het de bedoeling dat er eventjes
And when the pad is on the horse, what we want is for Emma to be on the horse and walk around a little bit.
Ik merk heel vaak als ik in het veld ben naar mijn klanten en ik zeg dan, je moet wel even met een drukje opstappen. Dan zeggen die mensen...
I always tell my clients, get on the horse from a little chair. And then the owners say, no, I can do it myself. But it's not about the ability of the rider, but it is proven that if you jump on the horse without a chair, you will have a lot of peak pressure on the horse. So use a chair. We don't have a chair here, so we're going to do it without.
Ook al ben je heel lenig en heel jong van geest. Dus probeer dan wel zo kort mogelijk aan je zadel te hangen. Laat hem nog even met die pet rustig de hoek stappen.
Okay, Emma is going to walk around a little bit with the pad on the horse, so the horse gets used to it.
We gaan straks, nu nog niet, de metingen verrichten.
What we're going to do,
Die metingen.
we're going to show you guys the measurements.
Want het is goed dat we hebben weinig tijd, dat we steeds dezelfde hand kiezen, anders hebben we ook weer variabelen.
And what we're going to do right now, we're going to only measure when the horse is going left. We're not going to change rein because that will give a different measurement.
Daarna gaan we 1 minuut draven en daarna gaan
We're
we
going to walk, and we're going to trot for 1 minute and then canter for 1 minute.
stappen en draven en galopperen.
I'm going to tell Emma when to trot and when to canter.
Gaat Herman deze data's analyseren.
Then Herman behind the computer is going to analyze the pressure.
Data projecteren.
And then we can give you the data of the measurement.
We doen het vandaag met 2 zadels. En
And we're going to show you 2 different saddles today.
dat wil niet zeggen dat het ook de beste zadel is. Het wil ook niet zeggen dat die andere slecht is. Maar wij proberen dat aan te geven. Aan jullie zullen we na de tijd dat toch iets kunnen vergelijken. Ook is het maar minimaal.
And this pressure measuring is a comparison.
Wil jij hier even bij mij komen? Dan gaan we even beginnen met stappen, want ik denk, we hebben niet heel veel tijd. En ik snap dat het maar wat verstandig is. Maar bij een eindje mag je gaan stappen en we zetten helemaal de metingen aan.
Okay, we're going to start the measurement. Go forward in the walk.
Probeer dan toch, ondanks dat het misschien wat gespannen is, het hoofd wat naar beneden te krijgen.
Well, we're going to try to make the horse as relaxed as possible.
In die vorige
Just like the clinic just before, try to lengthen and lower the neck. Okay, what we see now on the screen, we see green and blue spots moving.
Als wij naar de stuurruimtes kijken, dan mag de gemiddelde druk per newton per vierkante centimeter ongeveer 4 newton zijn.
And when we look at dressage riders, the average pressure needs to be around 4 newton.
Mag het maar 3 zijn. En de springpaarden mag het 5 zijn.
And if you have a jumping horse, it can be a little bit higher, around 5 newton. Okay, we're going to trot.
En wanneer je in de reisrichting kijkt, zie je dat met name rechts nu een oranje en rood vlakje komt.
In the trot, on the right side, sometimes you can see an orange spot lighting up right in the front.
Daar word ik nog niet gelijk heel erg nerveus van.
That is not making me nervous, but that's the peak pressure you see there.
De gemiddelde belasting.
And what we are looking for is the average pressure. And what you can see quite clearly is the rising trot.
Dit ziet er heel mooi uit.
Okay, we're going to make a transition to the canter.
Kijk wat de lat doet. Lat blijft op de rechterkant toch nog meer druk geven dan in stap.
And what you can see again, on the right side in the canter, there's still more pressure on the right side of the saddle. And if you want to analyze this, you might say that there is a horse that is bent a little bit more. The horse is kind of pushing towards the right. And now we're going to go back to the trot. And we're going to stop this measurement. What you saw was a lot of movement. This was a good measurement. You can see a little bit of difference between the left and the right. And we're going to analyze it, and then we're going to tell you the average pressure. And when you are a saddle fitter, the next questions you're going to ask yourself is, why is there a little bit more pressure on the right side? Asking Emma to come back forward, and we're going to change the saddle.
In principe was het wel zo, wat ik nu zag, misschien is het voor jullie dan een beetje abracadabra, was het eigenlijk een hele mooie meting. Ook zag je dat verschil. Je zag veel groen, je zag veel blauw, je zag iets meer belasting onder het rechter.
And Sybren Minkema is telling us that what he saw on the screen, there was a lot of blue and a lot of green, and he is quite positive about this. And what we're going to do now is change the saddle and make a measurement again with the other saddle.
Ik vertelde net dat bij een Noordisch de druk van 3 newton per vierkante.
And I told you a little bit before, endurance horses, the newtons in an endurance horse can only be around 3.
Dus als je dan gemiddeld hoog zit, dan alle piek.
And that's because in endurance, the peak pressure on average needs to be lower. And then if you have a jumping horse, there is a lot of peak pressure. And that's because of in the jump, there's a lightening of the pressure, and then when the rider comes down, there's a peak pressure up to 8 Newton. And that's why with the jumping horses, we find that 5 Newton is a acceptable average. For the dressage, it is a little bit less, and then for the endurance horses, it is 3. Saddle number 2. We need to walk just one round to make sure that the horse is relaxed. Otherwise, the measurement is not fair.
Dan zijn we hier aan de eerste stap van de tweede meting. Laten we even stilstaan. Dan moeten we zelf als het niet wel heel scherp zijn, want soms zie je heel weinig verschil. En als je heel niet scherp kun je wel een groot verschil zien. Maar het is weer het interpreteren van de drukvlakken op de monitoren.
And what we're going to do now, we're going to interpret the things you see on the screen. Okay, we're going to stop. 3, 2, 1, forward. In the walk, you can go. It's a very dynamic image. And of course, the things you see are not only the movement of the horse, but also the movement of the rider. We see a nice and even pattern. We see blue and green. And then, again, you can see on the right side, there is a little bit more green, especially in the middle part. And we're going to check the trot. Okay, let's go forward in the trot. What you see is almost the same image as the other saddle. You can see the rider doing the rising trot. And you can see that again, some yellow spots on the right side. And this is something you can improve as a saddle fitter with the filling of the saddle. We're getting ready to move into the canter.
Nou zie je dat gras ook links voor in één keer een rode punt komen. Dus het zaad.
And now you can see in the left front, every now and then, a red point. And right now you can see the peak pressure, but we are also going to hear about the average pressure. And if we see how the horse is going and the rider is doing, it's a very fair measurement. The horse is presented in the best way possible. And now we're going back to the trot. Okay, we have data now from 2 saddles. And we're going to put an image together of both of the saddles now.
Dan zie je daar een percentage naast
And
staan.
saddle number 1, you can see on the screen there is a percentage.
Dan zie je dus eigenlijk dat er aan de rechterkant ietsje groener is.
On the right side you can see more green.
Dit is dus het beeld van zadel 1.
And this is the image of saddle number 1. Okay, let's see the image of saddle number 2.
Welk percentage heeft dat helemaal? Ja? Ja? Dus bij de vorige zadel, de eerste zadel, is er minder verschil tussen links en rechts.
In the first saddle you see a little bit less difference. In the left and the right and the other saddle you can see a little bit more difference.
Wat minder stabiel gevoel. Als je rechts onder in het beeld zit, zie je wel daar een ritme. En het ritme geeft aan het ritme in de start, het ritme in de
If you go to the right corner you can see the rhythm of the movements. And if you see a good rhythm, that's a positive image.
Dan moet je dat eigenlijk met het menselijk brein, wat wij dan hebben, waar we voor geleerd hebben, nog steeds goed naar je paard kijken en ook naar de ruiter, wat zij het lekkerst vinden en waar zij het lekkerst mee rijden. De beste meting hoeft niet altijd voor de ruiter het beste paard te zijn.
And if you have a good measurement, you need to decide if it's coming from the horse, the saddle or the rider.
Dus dat is goed. Dus dan heeft de ruiter best wel invloed op onze zadelkast om wat zij lekker vinden, zolang wij maar binnen deze lijntjes blijven. Ik heb nu geen vraag gesteld, ik sta verder voor jullie af. Het is misschien wel heel snel gegaan, maar ik moet nog weer stoppen.
And this was a very quick image on how you can use this electronic saddle measurement. And Sybren Minkema wants to thank everybody. But if you have any questions, you can go to the Tweespan Ruitersport stand in the shopping village. Ask your questions. Sybren Minkema will be there both days. Thank you for your attention. Highly interesting. So many techniques to find out what you are doing. And we want to thank the rider Emma Spoelstra together with Diana Hinke van de Mersken.
Ze begaan techniek is sterk en gaan steeds verder komen. Het is zeer belangrijk om een goed zadel te hebben.
And it's important to have a good saddle, and the techniques you use are very helpful.
En de ruiter. We gaan 3 aanspannen aan de leiding met 19 punten.
Next thing in this horses to fly KFPS sport competition, we're going to watch the stallions and geldings. 4- and 5-year-olds doing their show driving finals.